I thought I was giving my wife the perfect gift, a brand new iPhone. But when she turned it on, the gallery wasn't empty. There were already dozens of photos of strangers, a child, a basement, even screenshots of private chats with her name in them. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a phone, it was someone else's life bleeding into ours. I'd been saving for months, carefully tucking away a little from every paycheck, skipping dinners out, ignoring the urge to upgrade my old sneakers, just so I could give my wife, Emily, something special for her birthday. We'd been married for 7 years, and though life had thrown its punches, late rent notices, cars breaking down at the worst possible time, and bills that seemed to multiply like rabbits, I wanted this year to be different. I wanted her to feel spoiled, even just for once. Emily had been hinting about needing a new phone. Her old one was cracked across the screen, battery life shrinking faster than ice in the sun, and apps barely loading without freezing. She'd sigh whenever it died mid-call, usually while she was talking to her mom, and I'd see the frustration etched into her face. I knew what she wanted, even though she never outright asked. So, I made up my mind. I'd get her a brand new iPhone. The newest one, not refurbished, not secondhand, straight out of the box. Or so I thought. On the morning of her birthday, I woke her with breakfast in bed, pancakes shaped like hearts, slightly burnt but cooked with love, and her favorite coffee, too sweet for my taste, but perfect for hers. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "You're too much." That's when I pulled out the little white box. Her eyes widened the second she saw the Apple logo. She looked at me, then back at the box, and I swear, for a moment, she looked like a kid again, like when you wake up to find your dream toy under the Christmas tree. "Are you serious?" she whispered. "Open it," I grinned, trying to hide how nervous I was about how much I'd spent. She tore into the wrapping, lifted the sleek lid, and gasped when the shiny, new phone rested in her hands. She held it like it was fragile, like it might disappear if she blinked. "This is too much, babe," she said, shaking her head. "You shouldn't have." "I wanted to," I replied simply. "You deserve it." For a while, it felt perfect. She kissed me again, longer this time, and I thought, this is it. This is the memory I wanted to create. But then she pressed the power button. The screen lit up. The familiar Apple logo appeared. And then, instead of the usual hello setup screen, something else popped up. A home screen, already customized. At first, I thought maybe I'd made a mistake. Maybe the store sold me a demo unit or something. But when Emily swiped to the Photos app, her smile faltered. Babe," she said slowly, her finger hovering above the screen. "What is it?" I asked, leaning closer. She opened the photo gallery, and my stomach dropped. There were dozens of pictures already saved. Not stock photos, not wallpapers, real photos. A kid blowing out birthday candles, a basement filled with dusty boxes, a kitchen that wasn't ours. And then, the strangest thing, screenshots of text conversations. One of them had her name in it. I froze. Emily looked at me, her hands.
Now imagine what happens next. But before that, smash that like button and hit subscribe, cause the craziest part is just getting started.
Hands trembling as she scrolled. "What the hell is this?" I couldn't answer. My throat went dry, my heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. None of it made sense. "Maybe it's refurbished," I offered weakly, though I knew the box had been sealed, plastic wrap intact. She shook her head, eyes wide. "No, this isn't normal. Who are these people? Why is my name, my actual name, in these texts?" And that's when something else hit me. The texts weren't just random. They weren't just casual conversations. They looked like instructions. Like someone talking about her, about us. I felt my palms go clammy. I grabbed the box, turned it over, checked the serial number. But it didn't matter. The phone in Emily's hands wasn't just a phone anymore, it was a doorway. To what? I didn't know. She slammed it down on the bed like it burned her. I don't want this thing in the house, but I just sat there, staring at the glowing screen, wondering if I'd accidentally handed my wife the key to a nightmare. Emily didn't sleep that night. Neither did I. The iPhone sat on the dresser, face down, like some cursed object we were both too afraid to touch. Every time I glanced at it, I felt like it was staring back, waiting. We argued in whispers, as if the phone could hear us. "This isn't normal," Emily kept repeating, her voice sharp with fear. "You said it was brand new. How does a brand new phone have pictures of some kid's birthday party? Or God, texts with my name in them?" "I don't know," I admitted. And that was the truth. My receipt clearly said new iPhone, sealed. I bought it from a big-name electronics store in downtown Chicago, not some shady seller on Craigslist. Around 3 a.m., I made the mistake of turning it on again. The screen lit up, and there it was, the same home screen, the same icons, the same photo album. Only, the album had grown. There were more pictures now. I clicked on the gallery, my chest tightening. The most recent photo froze me in place. It wasn't a stranger's basement, or a kid I didn't recognize. It was me, sitting at the kitchen table, head in my hands, the dim glow of the oven clock behind me. The timestamp, less than an hour ago. Emily gasped when she saw it. That's right now. That's you." I dropped the phone like it was radioactive. We spent the rest of the night staring at each other, our whispers spiraling into theories. Was it hacked? Some sick prank? A tracking device? By morning, I was done playing detective. I shoved the phone back into its box, grabbed the receipt, and told Emily, "I'm taking it back." The store opened at 9. I was there at 8:50, pacing outside like a lunatic. When the doors finally slid open, I marched straight to the counter, box clutched tight in my hands. The clerk, a skinny kid who couldn't have been more than 19, greeted me with a too cheerful, "Morning, how can I help you?" I slammed the box down. "This phone isn't new. It came with someone else's data, photos, texts, even." My voice faltered. "Pictures of me." His smile faltered. "Sir, that's not possible. All our stock comes directly from Apple." "Then explain this," I snapped, pulling out the phone and unlocking it. The gallery opened instantly, like it had been waiting, and sure enough, there it was, the latest picture. A shot of me, standing at the counter, arguing with him. The clerk's eyes widened. He backed up a step. "What the hell?" "Yeah," I hissed. "You tell me." He called for his manager, a middle-aged woman with a tight bun, and a look that said she'd seen every kind of angry customer imaginable. But when she saw the screen, her face drained of color. "Where did you get this?" she asked. "From you. From this store. Yesterday." She exchanged a glance with the clerk, something unspoken passing between them. Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice. "Sir, I think you should take this to the police." That wasn't the answer I expected. "What? Why?" "I just want a refund." But she shook her head. "I don't think this is about a refund anymore." I felt the room tilt, my palms sweating. Emily had been right, this wasn't normal. But police? What would I even say? "Hi, I bought my wife a phone, and it's stalking us with real-time photos." They'd laugh me out of the station. Still, the manager's fear wasn't fake, and the more I stared at the glowing screen, the more I felt like the phone wasn't recording us, it was predicting us. Because the next photo wasn't of me, it was of Emily, alone, sitting on our bed, her hands covering her face. The timestamp, 10 minutes in the future. I drove home in silence, knuckles white on the steering wheel, the cursed phone buzzing inside its box on the passenger seat. Emily's face in that last picture wouldn't leave my mind. The timestamp burned into me. 10 minutes in the future. When I pulled into the driveway, Emily was already waiting at the door. Her eyes were wide, scanning my hands like she expected me to come back with bad news carved into my skin. "What did they say?" she asked before I'd even stepped inside. I set the box on the kitchen table. "The manager told me to call the police." Her mouth fell open. "The police? For a phone?" Emily said quietly. "There was another picture of you, sitting right here." 10 minutes into the future, she went pale. Her hand instinctively touched her face, the same way it looked in the photo. We sat down together, the box between us like a live bomb. Finally, I pulled the phone out again. My hands shook, but curiosity outweighed fear. The screen flickered on, glowing cold blue. The photo gallery loaded instantly, and there she was, Emily sitting on the bed, hands covering her face. The timestamp matched exactly. We both stared in silence. Reality didn't bend this way. Phones didn't show the future. "Call the police," Emily whispered. So I did. The officer on the other end sounded skeptical at first. "You're saying a phone took Future pictures of you? He repeated, like he was trying not to laugh. Just send someone, I snapped. 2 hours later, squad car pulled up outside. A female officer named Ramirez and her partner, a heavy-set guy with tired eyes, stepped inside. I laid everything on the table. The receipt, the box, the phone. Watch, I said, unlocking it. Just watch. The gallery opened, and my stomach dropped, because the latest photo wasn't me or Emily. It was Officer Ramirez, standing in my kitchen, staring down at the phone. Timestamp, 2 minutes ago. Her face hardened. She glanced at her partner, who muttered, "Jesus Christ." Ramirez picked the phone up carefully, like it was evidence in a murder case. "Where exactly did you buy this?" I told her. "The store, the receipt, everything." She nodded, already pulling out her own phone to snap pictures of the device. But as she lifted her camera, the cursed iPhone vibrated again. Another photo appeared. This time, it was darker. Ramirez again, but not in my kitchen. She was outside, standing beside her squad car, and behind her, a man in a hoodie was holding something shiny against her back. The timestamp, 15 minutes into the future. "Ma'am," I said softly, sliding the phone across the table to her. "You need to see this." When she did, her breath hitched. Her partner swore under his breath. "This is insane," Ramirez muttered. "Phones don't do this. This is." She trailed off, her eyes flicking toward the window, toward her car parked on the curb. I couldn't stop shaking. "So what now?" She looked at me with the same fear Emily had. "Now, we wait, and we see if the future can be changed." The air in my kitchen felt like a live wire, buzzing with a fear none of us could name. Officer Ramirez stood by the window, staring at her squad car parked at the curb like it had just turned into a death trap. Her partner, Officer Wallace, paced nervously, his heavy boots thudding against the linoleum. Emily clutched my arm, whispering, "What if the phone's never wrong?" I didn't answer. I couldn't, because deep down, I had the same thought. The phone wasn't just showing pictures. It was setting a timer. Ramirez finally turned back to us, her face pale but resolute. "Okay," she said. "Here's what we're gonna do. We treat this like a threat. We don't ignore it. Wallace, go check the car. Stay alert." Wallace froze. "Check the car? Did you see that photo? There was a guy with a weapon." "That's exactly why we check," Ramirez snapped. "If this thing is real, then we don't get to sit here and hope it goes away." Wallace grumbled but moved toward the door. Ramirez followed, hand on her holster. I grabbed her arm. "Wait," I said. "What if going out there is what makes it happen?" For the first time, she hesitated. Her eyes darted toward the phone glowing on the table, then back at me. "Then we stay inside," she murmured. "But if the guy's really out there..." Before she could finish, the iPhone buzzed again. A new photo. This one was worse. It showed my kitchen window shattered, glass all over the floor, and me, sprawled on the ground, blood streaking down my face. The timestamp, 5 minutes in the future. Emily screamed, clapping a hand over her mouth. Wallace stopped cold at the door, spinning back around. Ramirez snatched the phone up, her lips pressed into a hard line. "This thing isn't just showing me," she said slowly. "It's showing all of us." My heart pounded so hard I thought my chest might crack. I backed away from the table, scanning the kitchen like the danger might already be here. The fridge hummed, the clock ticked, but every sound felt like a countdown. "We have to get rid of it," I said. "Smash it, burn it, something." Ramirez shook her head. "No, not yet. If this is evidence of some kind of, I don't even know, crime, experiment, whatever it could be, the only proof we have, destroying it might erase everything." "Erase everything?" Emily shot back. "That sounds like a good idea." But Ramirez was already moving. She shoved the phone into an evidence bag, sealing it tight. "No one touches it again until we know what we're dealing with." Wallace muttered, "Lady, we're way past knowing. This thing is the devil." We all flinched when headlights swept across the window. A car was slowing down outside. Ramirez and Wallace both drew their weapons instantly, tension snapping like a whip. The car passed, just a neighbor pulling into their driveway. But then another buzz. Ramirez reluctantly pulled the phone out of the bag. The photo nearly made me vomit. It showed Emily, her eyes wide in terror, standing in the middle of the kitchen. Behind her, a man in a dark hoodie was holding a knife to her throat. The timestamp, 15 minutes in the future. Emily saw it and broke down. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched my arm. "I don't want to die," she whispered. I pulled her close, shaking so hard I could barely speak. "No one's dying. Not today." But even as I said it, my eyes drifted to the window, to the door, to every shadow in the house. Because somewhere out there, someone or something was waiting to step into the frame. The silence after that last photo was unbearable. It pressed down on us like a storm cloud, heavy and suffocating. Emily clung to me, her nails digging into my arm, and I didn't even flinch because the fear in her grip matched the one crawling under my skin. Officer Wallace was the first to break the silence. "That's it. I'm done. This phone is cursed, haunted, whatever the hell you want to call it. We leave it. We leave this house, and we don't look back." Ramirez shot him a glare sharp enough to cut steel. "We can't just walk away. If we do, what happens to them?" She nodded toward us. Wallace spat out a bitter laugh. "What happens to us if we stay? Did you see that picture? She's dead in 15 minutes. You think we can stop fate with a goddamn Glock?" Emily's voice trembled. "Please, I don't want to die in my own kitchen." I wanted to tell her it was going to be fine, but the words stuck in my throat because I didn't believe them myself. Then, as if the universe wanted to make things worse, the iPhone buzzed again. Ramirez snatched it up, her hands shaking now. She hesitated before turning it toward us. The new photo was different. It wasn't in the kitchen. It was in the living room. The picture showed us me, Emily, Ramirez, and Wallace standing together, staring at the phone in Ramirez's hand. But there was someone else in the frame. A man in a black hoodie, half hidden in the corner, his face blurred like the camera refused to capture it. The timestamp, 5 minutes ahead. "Oh my God," Emily whispered. "He's already here." Wallace bolted to the hallway, gun raised, scanning every corner like a soldier in a war zone. Ramirez followed, every step deliberate, her jaw tight. I just stood there, frozen, staring at the photo, because something about it gnawed at me. The angle, the way the light hit us, the reflection on the TV screen in the background. It wasn't just a photo of the future, it was a photo taken inside this house. Ramirez returned, shaking her head. "No sign of anyone. Doors are locked, windows too." "But the picture," I started. "I know," she cut me off. "But until I see someone with my own eyes, it's just the phone playing games." Wallace wasn't having it. He stormed back into the kitchen, slamming his gun down on the table. "This isn't a game. That thing is showing us how we die, and you're acting like it's evidence in some case file. Screw this." He grabbed the evidence bag and yanked the phone out. Ramirez shouted, "Don't." Too late. The phone lit up on its own, screen glowing brighter than before. Wallace held it up like he was about to smash it against the wall, then froze. A new photo appeared, right in front of us. It was Wallace, lying on the ground, blood pooling around his head. The timestamp, 1 minute in the future. Emily screamed. I couldn't move. Ramirez lunged forward, trying to rip the phone out of his hand, but Wallace stumbled back. His face went pale as he looked around the kitchen, like death itself was circling him. "Bullshit," he muttered. "It's fake. It's all fake." He stormed toward the door, throwing it open, and that's when it happened. A deafening crack. A bullet punched through the doorway from outside. Wallace dropped like a puppet with its strings cut, blood spraying across the linoleum. Emily wailed. I dragged her down behind the counter, heart hammering in my chest. Ramirez hit the floor too, gun drawn, eyes wild. The phone slipped from Wallace's limp hand and clattered to the floor. Its screen was still glowing. Another photo appeared. This one showed Ramirez crouched behind the counter just like she was now, but in the reflection on the oven door, the blurred man in the hoodie was standing right behind her. Timestamp, 3 minutes in the future. The kitchen had turned into a war zone of silence and fear. Emily was sobbing into my chest. Ramirez's breathing was ragged, and the phone's glow felt like a beacon for death itself. "Don't look at it," I whispered. But Ramirez couldn't tear her eyes away. She held the phone at arm's length like it was a venomous snake, her finger trembling as she scrolled. More photos. Each one was worse than the last. In one, Emily was sprawled on the floor. In another, I was slumped against the counter, blood streaking down my shirt. The man in the hoodie appeared in all of them, closer each time, his face always blurred, always impossible to see. "Jesus Christ," Ramirez muttered, her voice cracking. "It's counting down," Emily whimpered. "Please, make it stop. Just make it stop." Ramirez slammed the phone shut inside the evidence bag again and shoved it into her vest. "We don't play its game. We move. Now." We crawled across the kitchen floor, avoiding the windows, heading for the basement door. Wallace's body was still there, a grim reminder of how fast the photos became reality. Ramirez pushed the basement door open and motioned us inside. We scrambled down the stairs into the musty dark, hearts pounding so loud it felt like the house itself could hear us. Down there, the air was colder. The smell of concrete and damp insulation surrounded us. For a moment, it felt safer. Hidden. Then another buzz. We all froze. The sound echoed through the basement like a gunshot. Ramirez pulled the phone out again, cursing under her breath. She hesitated, then looked. Her face drained of color. "What?" I demanded. She turned the screen toward me. The photo showed the basement, us huddled together, but behind Emily, just barely visible in the shadows, was the man in the hoodie. Timestamp. 1 minute. Emily screamed and spun around, her back to the cinderblock wall. Nothing. Just pipes and shadows. Ramirez drew her gun and aimed into the dark. "Come out, you son of a bitch." Silence. Then a sound above us. Slow, deliberate footsteps crossing the floor. The ceiling creaked with each step, dust falling from the rafters. "He's not down here," I said hoarsely. "He's upstairs." Ramirez kept her gun trained on the shadows. "That's what it wants us to think." Emily clutched my hand so tightly it hurt. "We're going to die here." "Oh," I lied. "We're not." Another buzz. The photo this time made my stomach flip. It wasn't blurry anymore. It was Emily. She was screaming, her eyes wide with terror, while a gloved hand covered her mouth. The timestamp, 30 seconds. Emily's sobs turned into panicked gasps. She shook her head violently, as if refusing the photo's prophecy. "No, no, no, no." I pulled her into my arms, whispering, "Won't let it happen. I swear." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure who I was trying to convince her, or myself. The night after everything blew up felt unreal. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, phone buzzing every few minutes with texts I couldn't bring myself to open. My wife was asleep beside me, curled up tight, but even in her sleep, I could tell she was tense. That damn iPhone sat on the dresser across the room. Brand new, sleek, shiny, except it wasn't just a phone anymore. It was a wound, a reminder, a box full of questions no one wanted to answer. Earlier that day, I'd taken it back to the store. The same guy who sold it to me looked me dead in the eye and swore, "It must have been a mistake, sir. Refurbished units are not supposed to be sold as new. We'll replace it." He slid a new box across the counter like nothing happened. Like my marriage hadn't almost detonated over someone else's private photos hiding inside a gift meant to say "I love you." I didn't take it. I just walked out. On the drive home, I couldn't stop replaying her face in my mind. The way she looked at me when she saw those pictures, like she didn't know what was anymore. Like she had to calculate whether her husband could be lying straight to her face. It didn't matter that the store admitted fault. It didn't matter that the photos weren't mine. The seed of doubt was planted, and you can't just dig that up and toss it away. That night, after hours of silence, she finally whispered, "Why did this happen to us?" I didn't have an answer. I wanted to tell her it was just bad luck, a screwed-up retail mistake. Maybe some employee swapped boxes. Maybe someone at the factory didn't wipe the phone clean. But none of that explained why I felt so powerless. Why my whole life suddenly felt like it was balancing on a stranger's selfies. I thought about smashing the phone, just taking it outside and breaking it until there was nothing left but glass and dust. But then what? That wouldn't erase the look in her eyes. It wouldn't erase the late night thoughts she'd have from now on whenever I came home late, or scrolled too long on my own phone. The next morning, she made coffee like usual. We sat across from each other, sipping, pretending everything was fine. But when her phone buzzed, she flinched. When I reached for mine, she looked away. Trust doesn't come back with the refund receipt. I don't know if we'll be okay. I don't know if a stupid, messed up iPhone can really break a marriage, or if it just exposed cracks that were already there. But here's what I do know. I'll never look at a brand new gift the same way again. And maybe, neither will you.